Okay, it's the 25th of November 2011, and this is a interview video analysis for Zvika, and let's jump right into it. So we're starting off over here, on just as per usual, on the outside of the pool, just taking a look at Zvika from just above the pool deck. And if you look at Zvika here, he's got a nice, I really think he's got a really nice, easy style, breathing bilaterally. If I had to have any particular comment, I would just say that he occasionally is raising his eyes to look ahead, and so lifting up his head, which is going to put some constraints on his body in terms of the balance and alignment of his body. So as his head goes up, his legs are going to go down. Having said that, considering that Zvika is a triathlete and will be doing a lot of open water swimming, this is not necessarily a bad thing in terms of sighting, being able to actually continue with your swimming stroke while sighting ahead of you. So I'm not overly concerned about it, but it's just something that I'd like to point out as we go along. Okay, but let's continue. So nice smooth style, it seems to have good rotation. This is just having a look at things from the outside. Now we're flipping over to the vertical view, or helicopter view as I like to call it, and let's take a look at Zvika from above. Often we can look above a swimmer and get some really good ideas of what's going on. So let's have a look over here. Point number one, I think Zvika's got a really good body line. His body, and throughout his swimming, as I see it, he's got a nice straight body line, and he retains that body line really well. The one thing that I just want to point out over here is, if you look at this leg over here, it appears to be quite wide. If you look at the angle between the legs at this point of Zvika's stroke, okay, let me just get that right. Let's just have a look at that angle. If we have a look at the angle of his legs over here, it's quite considerable. Now this is just as Zvika is about to go to breathe to his left hand side, and you'll notice something else here as well, that this right hand, the right leading hand over here, is entering the water and pushing down. Okay, now this is often what happens with a breathing stroke and with force going down in front of the swimmer. The legs tend to open up to give that extra bit of propulsion in order to keep the legs up and buoyant and as close to the surface as possible. And as we go forward over here, you'll see those legs do come back together quite nicely, though, I have to say. He doesn't actually breathe there, although he's getting close to breathing. And let's have a look. The left arm comes over. It's a little bit high, but it comes over all right, and it enters the water in a good position, I would say. Again, though, if you have a look here, again, there seems to be a fairly wide distance between the legs at this point in time. I'm not sure that we should be too concerned about it. I'd certainly like to have a closer look at it as we get to the underwater view. Let's continue. We can also just slow this down a little bit. Okay. Hands are entering quite nicely. I'm not too concerned about the recovery stroke is quite good in my estimation. I don't have too many problems with that. Okay, let's duck beneath the water now, and I'll keep it in slow motion mode at this point in time. Let's have a look what's happening. Okay, here comes Zvika. All right. Well, we can see a lot already happening over here. Let's just freeze it right there. Right at this point in time, have a good look at this hand. Okay. This part of his stroke is the same as the criticism that I leveled at Zvika just a moment ago. Okay, his right hand is leading and it's pushing down. You can see a huge amount of bubbles over here, showing that there's a tremendous amount of force and downward velocity. And again over here, the legs are very wide apart. Okay, So all of these are signs and indicate to me that there's a lot of pressure pushing down, and if there's pressure pushing down in the front, what happens is that the body or the legs drop at the back, and so those legs open up to give Zvika an additional bit of propulsion. You can see, look, pushing down, still there's that bubble going all the way down. Now, look at that, there's still a lot of bubbles, a lot of it, which denotes a lot of downforce, okay? And only now at this point in Zvika's stroke do we see that the arm is getting into a position where it's starting to actually push back and propel him forward. So up until this point, most of his forward propulsion is coming from or a lot of it is coming from his kick, and just a slight bit from the arm. So a lot of wasted energy, a lot of power being wasted in the front end of the stroke, pushing down, forcing the legs down. Okay, here he pushes back with his right arm. Now the left arm comes in. Let's have a look here. It's not in a bad position at all. The elbow is generally up. The hand is down, which is good. But again, look at that trail of bubbles following that hand down, which donates a lot of downward pressure. And now, at this point, now only is he starting to actually push. Now you can see that push, that sweep back, is he starting to propel himself forwards. And again, probably if we go back a little bit, we can't see because of the bubbles at this point, but I'm willing to bet that at the back over here as well, for most of the front end of that stroke, his legs are coming apart and giving a kick to keep him buoyant and keep him afloat in the water. So let's continue over here. Let's just watch what happens over here. You can see tremendous power pushing down, and now only coming back. Okay, breathing looks good. There, a good rotation. The other thing that I'm noticing over here as well is that it seems that Zvika has got a 2-beat kick, which I don't often see with guys. I'm not quite sure why, but it's a 2-beat kick. In other words, two kicks or 2 beats per stroke cycle, which indicates a nice, smooth and relaxed kick. And yet, I think he's got a pretty strong kick as well. Okay.